Good afternoon, US. Good evening, UK. And tonight we have Mark Hughes. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
Wonderful, thank you. Yeah, I
Jolly
like
good.
spring to
Jolly
come
good.
a bit. It's a bit chilly nowadays, isn't it? And the rain.
Yes. Yeah, the UK's not sort of well known for its sunny weather, is it really?
No. Apart from Scotland, which were 19 degrees
Oh, really?
yesterday. Yeah,
Oh,
somewhere in
okay.
Scotland, which is a bit random, really.
Yeah, a bit
But
too far
yeah.
for me. Okay.
Yeah, me. But yeah, so Mark
Yes.
investigated with you a while ago. Maybe I
Yep.
think about 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Something
In
like that. Yes.
Doncaster.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
So you do your own podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
You're a medium, and
Yes.
also you're a Wicca as well.
That's right.
Wicca.
I am. Yes. Yes.
So,
Do you want me
so
to give
we
you a bit of a? Go on.
right.
Sorry.
We always start basically by asking, where did the paranormal start for you? What was your first encounter?
Right. First encounter. Well, it's how can I put it? I've always been interested in the paranormal since probably I was about 9 years old, something like that. I was While everybody was at school reading Janet and John or whatever books was around.
Yeah.
I was the weird kid, but dressed in black, reading books about death or weird
Awesome.
stuff. And so I'd always been into along that sort of vein. And what really got me into it was there used to be a television program back in the early 70s called The Fantastic Voyage. Some of the older viewers might have heard of it.
Okay.
And it was about a group of people who got lost in the Bermuda Triangle. And each episode, they encountered different parallel universes until they got home. It only lasted about 5 or 6 episodes, I think. It didn't last very long, but I was
Wow.
absolutely fascinated by this, and I was asking whoever there was, and this is the early 70s. We didn't have internet, or books were very hard to come by unless you knew a library or librarian or something.
Yeah.
So I remember trying to find out about this Bermuda Triangle, and I learned all about Flight 19, the Oculus boat that got lost, and all the other things that mystery around there. And I just got hooked on this. And by finding out the information I did by going to local libraries, I found out so much more of the weird and wonderful things that go on in the world. So that's how I sort of got into it, if you like. But what I suppose helped
Fantastic.
me get into the spooky side, or the ghosts and spirits side. I used to live in an old house up in a place called Bolton, a town called Bolton, which is
Yeah.
over here in the UK, up north, Manchester area.
Yeah, Carl lives that direction. He's watching.
Oh, right. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So he
It's a
knows
lovely
about
place,
well.
honestly.
Yeah. I've spoken to Carl.
Nice.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Oh,
Some
dear.
great places around there, though. Great
Oh,
locations.
yeah. Oh, good grief. Yes, there is. Well, the road I lived in is an area up there called Tong Moor, I think it was called. And the actual house I lived in, it was part of an old nursing home. And what happened was, I was only about 11 years old. And whenever my parents used to send me and my sister to bed, at sort of 8, 9 o'clock or whatever, I didn't like my room. There was something about my room I really didn't like. And it
Wow.
got to such a stage that, I mean, bedrooms in those days were a bed, bedside table, and a light switch, and that was it.
Yeah, that's it.
So I had an old wardrobe in there as well. And it was a question of I'd get undressed, switch the light off really, really quickly, and dart into bed underneath the bedclothes before anything caught me or touched me,
Oh,
before I saw
wow.
anything. But I knew there was something in the room. And there was one day when I was looking at the wardrobe I had was one of these glossy varnished doors.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I remember looking at it one day, just, I don't know, trying to sort my hair out or something. And there was a reflection of a face next to me, behind me. And this was in daytime before going to school. So I wasn't too petrified, but it made me more scared later to go back.
Oh,
When I got
wow.
back later on. That was probably my first encounter. I mean, the story
Interesting.
itself does actually go on a lot more, but I don't want to bore everyone senseless with it.
Oh
But
no, you wouldn't. But
yeah.
it's intriguing. But what about your parents? What did they think?
Well, fair enough. My mother, I mean, she passed away a couple of years ago now, but she
Oh,
was very spiritual herself. But she was one of those people who I think it was of its time. You know, if you turn around to people and said you saw ghosts or you were medium, you were thought of,
You
you know,
can't. Yeah.
crazy. So my mother used to keep it very much to herself. Although
Yeah.
she could sense spirits and ghosts, she knew when there was things happening. And even up to just a few years ago, she would come around our house, because the house I'm living in now is quite old, and I know there's a
Wow.
couple of spirits in there,
Yeah.
and she's spotted them as well. But my father is very much, he's a very down to earth guy, very hard, although he's not a northerner, but you'd think he was if you spoke to him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good opinion, and he'll stick by. He was okay with it. He was open minded, but he never used to scare him or worry him or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, he was sort of, I don't know, trying to put on the big father, I suppose, because if he was scared, then we had no chance.
That's right.
That's probably how he looked at it, So yeah, well, I mean, to go on with that, actually, one night I was actually brave enough to take a bit of a look over the bedclothes,
Wow.
and just as in front of me was this old lady, and she was quite sort of a bit round, and she had like a nurse's cap on, and she was in a black. No, well, I thought it was black anyway at the time.
Yeah.
Black, I would say nurse's uniform or a nun's uniform or something like that.
My gosh.
Anyway, I was absolutely petrified.
Definitely.
A few days. Well, this used to happen all the time, quite a lot, and it got to. I never got brave enough to actually say, "Hey, who are you?" But it became normal that this little old lady would be in my bed, and sometimes I used to feel her sitting on the end of the bed, and you feel the bedclothes pulling down. It was terrible. If I want to go to the loo, tough, I'll wet the bed and get a bollocking for it in the morning.
Bless you, yeah.
And but what happened was it was a New Year's Eve. It was either New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. Our neighbours invited us and a few other people from the same block of terrace houses in for just Christmas drinks. And I must be about 13, 14 at this stage. My youngest sister was probably about 12. We went round there. We were allowed, and a few of the other kids did as well. The house that we went to had two smaller children, 3 or 4 years old, so they had to go to bed in the house we went to. They went to bed, and all of a sudden, I don't know, it must have been 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, one of the kids suddenly screamed up in her bedroom, actually screamed the place down, and somebody in there said, "I bet she's seen that old lady again in her room." And everybody in that room, in that house, looked at each other, and it turned out we'd all seen the same person in our bedroom looking at us.
Wow. That's awesome, isn't it? But it's obviously it's not sort of thing that you'd mention, because you couldn't then. And it is strange, isn't it? And
yeah. And it was, I mean, after that, I was no longer scared. In fact, I was more interested after that, because I realised I was actually seeing a spirit. Or then I just called them all ghosts then.
Well, that's right.
That's it. So, and and I think that sort of really pushed me a little bit more. And as I got older, I got braver, and I started reading more about. We got to 1980, and then of course you had Rendlesham Forest, which was the UFO encounter.
Yes.
And I was absolutely hooked on that. I picked up every newspaper clipping I could on that. That is probably one of my favourite episodes. That one is the 3 nights at Rendlesham. And of course I got hooked into that even more, which took me on to things like cryptids and the one with Bigfoot, and there's the monster of Kent, and there's Loch Ness monster. I've not been to Loch Ness. I'm determined.
Oh, you need to. It's beautiful. Hi, Andy.
Yeah, I'd love to. Well, you see, Loch Ness, of course, is a hotspot for UFOs.
Is it? Oh, wow.
Very much. UFOs, people have seen Men in Black up there as well. And they have also seen other cryptids up there. The names of them escape me at the moment. But it's quite a big UFO hotspot. It's all around.
Check it out more, because I do go camping up there.
Really?
On the banks of Loch Ness. So,
awesome.
I went there too. Well, been there a couple of times, and maybe I'll spend more time there next time then if there's UFOs.
Oh, I'll do so.
Well, but it's just a fascinating and stunning place anyway. And also the Nessie Hunt and Steve Feltham's there as well. He intrigues me. So he left for Rat Race, and I saw him 30 years ago, and in September I was actually lucky for him to be at his van again. So I had a chat to him and a little mini interview. But yeah, it's just amazing just to walk away from the 9 till 5 and just do what you want for the rest of your life, and it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very lucky. I'm actually retired from the 9 till 5. Retired a couple of years ago. So that's why I've been able to concentrate on my mediumship and also on Mark's Unexplained World, on my podcast, because I've now got the time to do what I want to do.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
So and it's just sort of gone on from there. Really, I don't consider myself a master of one particular subject. I tend to know bits of everything. It all depends on what catches my imagination at the time.
Yeah,
and I've got books behind me. Some are on most of my ufology. Some are on cryptids. Some are on Wicca. Some are on ghosts and spirits, haunted buildings. See, I love old books and things like that as well, which they always seem to have something about them.
Yeah, the Wicca side intrigues me as well. So how did you sort of get into that side?
Well, it's fair enough. It's always interested me, and I'd known some Wiccas, but some people were very, no, you don't want to get involved with that. And of course, that's just me being a rebel, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'm going to find out about this. So I spoke to, actually, fair enough, it was Penny Morgan.
Yeah, I'm speaking to Penny in about 2 to 3 weeks. So
yeah, she actually put me onto a chap, which was very good of her. I don't think I ever thanked her. Thank you, Penny, in case you're ever watching.
Oh, bless you.
She put me onto a guy who knew all about it. And I ended up having quite a conversation with him, and he recommended some books. I'm an avid reader. I love reading books.
Brilliant.
And I bought about 3 or 4 of these books. And this was probably about 5 years ago now. And from there, I found myself getting more and more involved in it. I meditate every day. I've also got an area where I live. I've got a long back garden. And right down the end of the garden, I've made a big clearing, which is sort of separated from everything else, where I meditate outside.
Lovely.
It's just in the middle. It's like a forest down the bottom of my garden. It's wonderful. And that's where I meditate. And that's where I practice my Wicca. Wicca, of course, it's just all part of the pagan religion, if you like. It's just another branch. I tend to call myself Wicca more than pagan, just out of choice, really. But what got me into that really is my love of nature.
Yeah.
I love animals. I think most people do. I'd like to think people do anyway.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
You'd hope so. I'm vegetarian as well. I have slipped up every now and then, but I tend to do a small ritual thanking the animal for giving itself so I can fill my belly. But 9 times out of 10, I will stick to vegetarian diet. So I do that as well, and I also basically I just use I use the energies from nature. One of the things I've started to do is whenever I've done an event for Fright Nights, because I also work as a medium for them as well. Sometimes I've found myself, it's been a really intense first half of the evening, and I've really connected with a lot of spirits, and they've really sort of drained you, because it does drain you. I've actually found that hugging a tree, if you hug a tree just a few minutes, it really invigorates you.
Yeah, it is amazing.
It is an amazing. I think it was. I can't remember who suggested it now. Somebody suggested it to me, and I thought, okay, yeah, give this. I'd heard about this, and I'm just going to give this a go. And I went and just held this tree for one. You can feel like the
energy is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, the energy from the tree. You can feel it all, and all of a sudden you just think, wow! I feel like I drunk like a can of Red Bull or something.
Wow. Fantastic.
Right back on top. And I'd actually recommend that for anybody to try. You'll look stupid, of course you will.
Yeah. Well, I kind of lean against a tree. I try to just do it because it's quite a public park. I kind of just do it more like. Yeah. Holding me up.
Oh, I've done it in public. I mean, I have actually. One guy actually I was hugging this tree, and one guy come up to me. I don't know who he was. He just said, "Do you two want to be alone?"
Oh, God,
I just said, "Please." So it was, but
wow.
it really, I mean, yeah, if you are scared, then lean on the tree, of course. But you
Yeah,
can, if you do hug a tree and you're a bit, you know, but I think I just got used to it now. I just don't worry
yeah,
about
that's
it.
it. Yeah, when I'm fed up, I find like if I go to a local woods, it makes a big difference.
Oh,
And
absolutely,
you hear
absolutely.
you sort of hear the chattering in the background, don't you? And there's a lot of different sounds. It's not just the birds. There's just more to it,
Absolutely.
isn't there?
I mean, once you got used to meditating in the outside, it's
Oh,
amazing what you can hear.
yeah.
And you close your eyes, and you obviously can hear the birds and the bush and
Oh, it's
the breeze.
beautiful. Yeah.
Concentrate, and you can really hear like the sheep further afield, or or
Yeah.
somebody chopping wood, or just you can pick them out, and that also helps keep you grounded. Because the
Yeah.
thing about meditation, of course, is you've got to keep your mind empty. And the more
Yeah.
you concentrate on the things that are going on, the nature or things that are far away, the less you'll think about the washing up or the cooking or the
Oh, that's
kids
it.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I
You
know.
know,
It's usually something
and
that sneaks in, isn't there?
yeah,
But
so
yeah.
that's so yeah, so that's one of the things I yeah, so that's
Yeah.
basically why I got into Wicked. It also helps me with my mediumship as well.
Brilliant. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, but if you're connecting like meditation,
mm,
my mediumship seems to have buggered off recently. I don't know why.
yeah,
But originally I thought it was down to a past life link, which I've nailed that. I've sorted it. But
right,
I don't know. So I think I need to do more meditation. I'm getting
yeah,
bits, but not.
yeah,
not
yeah.
I think. Do you go through stages? You know,
Um, I
sometimes you
think
pick up
so.
loads and then you just
Yeah, I think
no.
so. I think if you've had a really crappy day, or you're going through a bit of hard stuff, or
Ah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it can, because sometimes it gets on top of me. I mean, I've had a couple of rough years, and and sometimes you just think, I just can't do this. I think it's just the same when people who go to the gym every day, and some of them say, I just can't be doing with it today. And I think
Yeah,
I think it's a bit of self-discipline, isn't it? I've got to do this. And I think sometimes, I mean, like I work as a medium as well. I do card
yeah,
readings for people, so I always try and make sure I do at least something spiritual every day, just to make
yeah.
sure I'm
Just to help with that. Yeah,
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
sort I steered away from the personal readings really because people cry, but then they want the messages, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I was. Someone once said to me actually about readings, and I thought it was a very good thing. I can't remember who it was who said. I've got a
sort of,
terrible memory at the moment. Um, but somebody once said to me, there are two different types of people when you're doing readings. There are people who want readings. There are people who need readings. And I
yes,
thought it was
that's it.
really well. I just can't remember who said it to me. And I thought that's really. And ever since they told me that, whenever I've had a client who's come forward,
Yeah.
I've been able to tell straight away they need this. You know,
Mhm.
and
Oh
that
yeah,
seems
you
to
can.
help me in contact with the spirit that they need to talk to. And but when you get someone who's gone out of curiosity, and it's
Yeah.
hard because they just come because they just want to see what it's all about, rather
And
than
they want to
saying,
catch you out as well, don't they?
"Oh
A lot
yeah,
of the time, like, you've got somebody and they'll just look at you blankly and they'll
oh,
not like give you any indication because they think, oh,
yeah,
it's cold reading, whatever,
uh,
let's not give a sign. Let's just
yeah."
pretend. And then
That
you
can be
sort of carry on
really,
and carry on, and it's just so difficult because you don't know if you're hitting
yeah,
the
yeah,
nail
this is
on the
it.
head or not.
Oh,
It's what you're being told, but
yeah.
oh,
Oh yeah, I agree. I've done that when I've done online readings. I had one person, they sat there with their arms folded, looking at me, and I'm telling them what I'm picking up, what I'm reading.
yeah.
And they and I thought, as a screen frozen or something, or as,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be hard work, but oh well, comes with the territory, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But it is fascinating.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely,
have given people readings, and
yeah.
I
And there's
even
go on, sorry, carry on.
yeah, yeah,
I was going to say, what it also helps. Now, I've not managed to achieve this yet, but I'm determined to do it one day. Is there's what they call CE5, which is a ufology thing.
I want to do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know about it? Oh,
I know
fantastic!
about it.
Yeah, yeah.
They do it this
Wonderful.
way. A guy from Breaking Paranormal UK,
Really?
Luke. He goes once a month with the group in Sherwood Forest. So let us know if you're down here.
Yeah, yeah. I would, because
Yeah,
that's what it says. The book
obviously,
says
travel. Yeah,
you need a group of people rather than do it
they
on your
do
own.
it.
I do
It's
try and
once
do
a
it on
month
my
on a
own.
Saturday.
Wow. There's a film out. Sorry, there's a film out called Acknowledged. I highly recommend it. I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, me and names, but it's very interesting because he talks about CE5. Well, that's what got me hooked on it, and I started reading about it. I thought I've got to try that. And they took some They took some photographs of people when they were doing this CE5 stuff, and the images that were coming up on the camera were just amazing. I would highly recommend that. Acknowledge it's called. I think it's on Netflix. I think it's on Prime as well. But
interesting.
That's really worth. Yeah. Oh, I mean, if we're ever up at Sherwood Forest, I would love to do CE5.
Well, I'll let you know when the meeting, because obviously you go up to Doncaster quite a bit, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's at Plesley Pit, so it's a bit lower than Sherwood Forest, but
no, that's fine. Yeah,
we'll on a Saturday, and obviously I'm usually out and about, but I will try. You know that obviously if it's raining, they can't and they don't. But
no dedication, some people.
Nothing like not going to see a lot, are you? You know, apart from getting.
Yeah, true.
Gosh,
So okay, yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, I'll have to sort that, because I keep saying I want to go, and then you think, well, I'm doing that, and like, oh god, no, I missed it again, and like, I do want to go, and I've been up to the woods. I've met Luke and Kimberly up in the woods before, that direction, and it. Oh wow, when the dark comes in, they just change character totally, don't they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Unfortunately, the car park was a bit random as ever, but hey. No comment there.
No.
But oh dear, yeah. We had there's right weird stuff happening. I'm not just on about right, random people meeting, like, oh, check shirts and God knows what is weird. Yeah. And,
okay.
So it is all intriguing, though, isn't it? The whole field, that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, how can I put it? I try to embrace the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I get a lot of messages from people who've experienced strange things, and I'll be honest with you, I've never poo-pooed any of them. You know, if I start disbelieving and what have you, then I'm going to shy people away, the genuine people.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, so when I do get messages, things that have happened to people, it just reminds me of how fantastic this planet is, and it's such a shame that we stigmatize this sort of field. I think
that's it.
I think a lot of people do try to stigmatize. I mean, I've been laughed at. You probably had the same yourself, you know, and you get people saying, you know, saying there's a lot of BS.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know, I just tend to think they're missing out. They're missing out, not me. I can open my mind.
That's it.
The more you go into this field, I think the more you experience.
You do, because I tend to encounter something every weekend. Now, I do actively go out investigating, and I know somebody on the page says you can't get activity every weekend. But I think the combination of the right energy and the right people who I associate with, you get something. It might, you know, it's not going to be a full-bodied apparition.
Oh, no, that's gold. That's the gold, isn't it?
Yeah, it might just be flashing K2. You know what I mean? A slight tap, what you can't explain something like that. But
if you get, sorry, Karen.
Anything, you know, and you just got to appreciate every single thing.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've been poked, I've been prodded, I've been slapped. I've had a book thrown at me once.
Wow.
And I've also been kissed.
Which book was it?
Sorry.
Which book?
Oh, what was it? I think it was the Holy Bible, actually. I think it was at the Ram Inn. Many years ago now. I actually had a book thrown at me from the witch. I think she was in one of the little rooms.
Oh wow, I see.
That was quite something. I think I like to think this happened to me once. I think I was kissed once. I'm hoping I was kissed, because all I kept feeling was this something rolling around my tongue, and being a man of experience, I like to think it was a kiss.
Yeah. Some random creature or something. Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
We don't know that one either.
I've been scratched. I've been bitten. But it's funny, isn't it? Because most people that get scratched or bit, you know, they think, I think it's wonderful. If I've been bitten, there's photographs of it. There's you know, goodness knows what else. I always remember sometimes when I do the events, it's the public. I enjoy dealing with the general public, but you do get a mixed bag. I mean, when you go with your friends and you go with the same group and what have you, you build up an energy between you. You've all got that same hope, if you like. That something
that's it.
And it usually does. But when you get general public, none of them know each other, and you've got those that are nervous, those that the veterans who love it, who've been going to
that's
those
it.
ways,
I've got more
and you get the
than us.
skeptics.
Yeah, that's right.
You get hardened skeptics. And most of them are pretty good. Most of them, I always say to them, when we do the events, we tend to put the skeptics in one group, the veterans in another, and the people who shit themselves in another group. Yeah,
brilliant.
We tend to try and do it like that.
Not all the screamers in the room together, then rather than the serious ones. But yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. To me, it makes sense, because if you've got a couple of real veterans and they want some stuff, and you stick a couple of skeptics with them, it's just going to kill it stone dead. So these poor guys are sort of anyway, sorry. And sometimes you get skeptics and they literally sit there with their arms folded.
It would just destroy it. Yeah, for anyone in the room.
Yeah, I tend to think, why are you here?
Yeah, that's right.
You spend your hard-earned money coming to this. If you don't believe it, that's fine, but at least make an effort. I mean, I try and, well, as a medium, you know yourself, or even as a host, you know, you're trying to keep the energy going.
You're trying it. Oh gosh,
lots of enthusiasm.
You're putting your fingernails out, aren't you? Because some of the guests are just killing it. It's like, no. But
I do remember. I can't remember now. This was at Warwick Castle. Didn't happen to me. It happened to wonderful place. Happened to a friend of mine who actually works with Fright Nights, and she said to me, you know, she's really good at what she does, very professional, and she was doing the event through the evening, and about 2 hours in, she had these two old ladies come up to her and say, "Do you mind if we go home now?" And she said, "No, of course not. Is everything okay?" I said, and they looked at each other, and you know, they were very polite. I said, "Well, yes, we're okay." He said, "You sure? You know, I mean, is there anything I can help you with?" And she said, "Well, we've been here 2 hours and we haven't seen a ghost yet."
Oops.
Yeah. So
they've been watching too much TV.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
But I do love it. I do enjoy it.
Oh, I just find it fascinating. I think, like, when you do host an event, you start off at the beginning of night. No one knows each other.
Yeah,
and then, you know, everyone's quiet. We don't know what to expect. You know, you have got a mixture of the newbies. If you know, we sort of do like small numbers 10, so you've got a mixture of newbies and skeptics a lot. And at the end of the night, when people are like buzzing and they're talking and they're happy,
absolutely,
it's just fantastic, isn't it? And it's amazing how spirit works. So I was hosting on.
Oh yes, you're right. I mean I've had instances where I'll tell you what happened to with one. This wasn't actually with Fright Nights; it was another group. But I really saw the guy's point of view. They were doing an event somewhere. I can't remember the name of the company or anything like that.
Yeah.
And he said it was a really terrible night. I think he went to some museum somewhere.
Right.
And he said it was really bad. He said nothing was happening. You know.
Oh, God.
And of course, the more the evening wore on, the more fed up the guests were going because nothing was happening. Yeah. And they decided they'd try and do a seance or something, at least get something going. I think he said there was about 12, 15 of them, something like that. And they held hands, they shut their eyes, and it was pitch black. And all of a sudden, there was this thud. And that was it. It was just this one thud, and it was on command. Somebody said, "Tell them where you are or make a noise." Bang.
Yeah.
And everybody was completely, "Whoa, did you hear that? Did you?" And from that point onwards, right through to about 3 a.m, they had loads of activity.
Wow.
Anyway, now this is the cruncher. When they sent the guests home, one of the hosts suddenly realized he lost his torch. And he went round looking for it. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
he went to the room where the noise was. It was
Oh,
his torch had fallen out of the pocket.
oh
Now,
wow.
he's admitted to that. He said, but there was no way I could turn around to everybody afterwards and say, oh, sorry, guys, it was my torch. Because the evening would have just died again.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
thought, he's got a point.
Well, yeah, that's right. And
You know?
I think, yeah, it was their like attitude, wasn't it? Oh, nothing's
Yeah.
happening. I'm fed up. You know, like crossed
3
arms
hours
and
in,
everything, and then
nothing,
like,
and then
brilliant,
all of
awesome.
a sudden it just burst into life. Of course, it was. I mean, everybody was absolutely over the moon because after that, loads of other things started to happen.
Fine.
Actual things. So,
that is relieved he dropped it in the end, though. You know, otherwise it would have been a hell of a night, wouldn't it?
He didn't. He only told me. I don't think he told anybody else there. He told me about 3 or 4 weeks later what happened.
Yeah,
told me not to say anything.
Yeah, you're not going to. Well, yeah, but you're not. You know, you're not going to destroy the energy. You know, like 1 hour later, oh, I dropped the torch. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it would have just killed it if
kill
he'd
it all
said
again. So yeah.
So he decided, okay,
yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, because you know you don't know things happen accidentally. Like, you know, why did the torch fall out of the pocket?
Oh, that's a point.
That could have been paranormal anyway.
I didn't think to ask him that. I was so sort of impressed by his honesty that I never actually thought to ask him.
Yeah, because you know why? You know, standing still. Yeah. Why is it falling out of the pocket?
Why did the torch fall out of the pocket? Oh, I don't know.
So, you know, you don't know. So it could have been the spirit way, and I tend to like say all the time, like, you know, like I've got stuff happening in the back room all the time. So like I walk in the room, walk through it. 2 hours later, something falls to the floor. Oh, that must have fell because I put it down earlier. Yeah. Or 2 hours later, you know. But yeah. The fact that I've got 2 haunted dolls and some other items in there, you know.
Yeah, I've got a couple of haunted objects here as well in the house to keep them. Funny enough, whenever my daughters come round and stay over, they always tell me to put the haunted dolls away. Don't put them in the same room. And I'm so tempted to just like knock on the door and leave the doll at the bottom of the bedroom door and run away, you know.
Oh, put them in the windowsill behind the curtains.
I don't. They'd never forgive me.
They draw the curtain in the morning and the doll sort of falls on them. That'd be cool. So we've got Philip Bond, skeptic, but will always go open-minded to a location. You can still really get involved, and it's in a different way. And that's the thing, isn't it?
That's the way. It's like if you're going to go to the theatre and you don't know the actors in it, you don't know anything about it. You go along hoping that you'll enjoy it, and you put in the effort to try and enjoy it. I think it's the same. No, that's right. Good for him or her. Sorry, I didn't see who wrote it.
Philip, yeah. Philip.
No, that's right. That's the thing to do. And I always say when I host at the beginning, I always say just have an open mind. Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to get pushed, let yourself get pushed.
That's
it. That's the thing.
I kind of tell people just to use the sensors. You know, obviously we have got equipment, we have got gadgets, but sometimes if you're using the gadget, you can miss what's happening around you. You know, because that could be making too much noise, and then you miss the voice coming through or something like that.
Yes. Fair enough. You saying that, we were at one of the forts in down the east coast, Norwich, around that sort of area. I can't remember what it's called now, but one of the forts around there, we used a REM pod, and we used it, and nothing was happening on the REM pod, but we left it on. We left it on like one of the windowsills in one of the rooms. I can't remember the name of the fort now. And we got might have been a Ouija board, or it might have been just a glass divination. Yeah. And we found out through various other instruments, the reason why we didn't get anything on the REM pod is because the spirits in the fort thought it was a bomb.
Jesus, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and of course we didn't think that. That's a good point. They would. I mean, it's from World War One. Well, I just can't remember the name of the fort.
Not Wiggly.
No. It's along sort of the Norwich coast. Well, Norwich isn't on the coast, I know, but it's around that sort of
that area. Yeah,
I can't think what it's called, but yeah, and we thought, that's a fair point, you know.
That's right. Because like some of them are dubious about what we're doing anyway. we're practicing the occult, we're doing things that they were taught not to do, things, we shouldn't even go near. And then you've got
that's
these
right.
flashing things and
That's
beeping
right.
things which they can't understand.
No, I mean, I don't know if you've been the same, but sometimes the first time you go to a location, or the first time, and it's never been investigated before,
Oh, it's
it can
good, isn't
take
it?
at least 2 or 3 goes before you do
Yeah.
actually get some sort of results. Because I
Yes.
was thinking to think, well, if you're going to find out if something's haunted, you can't just sit there and expect things to happen.
That's it.
You've got to go at least a couple of times, get used to the energy, let the spirits get used to your energy. Also, the spirits need to know what it is you want them to do.
That's right. Well, they've got to learn how to do it, haven't they? This is the thing.
If you've got spirits that have come from sort of Stone Age, obviously, but from days or poor education system, which a lot of these old Victorian buildings do.
That's right.
A lot of them won't touch things like Ouija boards or things like that, simply because they can't spell.
That's it. Like that's the thing. You might get children, anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's embarrassing to them, isn't it?
Of course it is.
You don't want to say, "Oh, come and spell," and think, "Well, I can't." That's it.
Spell your name. Yeah, exactly. So it's all these little things that you think about before you go into some of these buildings.
Yeah, I did go to that weird shop in Nottingham. It's just opened up as a location. It is actually a shop. It sells a lot of different things, from vinyl records to collector's items, things like. It's absolutely fascinating. It really is. So I was the third group in there.
Right.
So there'd been a couple of lives in there done, and we were third, and you could tell that they kind of didn't know what to do. I'm going back again in March with mainly the same people. They're just like 6 of us, so we just go in, little small group, to see what we can get, and it was just fascinating. And it turned out that what we uncovered, the other two actually uncovered as well.
That's brilliant when that happens, isn't it?
And we didn't want to know. We knew the area is it's in Snanton Market in Nottingham, which would have been a fruit market and a lot of trading and things like that. So you obviously know it might have a bit of a reputation in the area, and anything kind of went in those days. But what we picked up from that building was quite intriguing, and certainly not what we expected.
Yeah.
And for the other two to do it as well. So now, I have got a plan for next time. There's something I need to uncover, but I've got some mediums going, so we're going to try and see if we come out with anything there, because there's something in that area what's always fascinated me. Right. And then it turns out that location's right near it. And it's just a bit weird that I've always known about something.
Yeah, I was going to say to you.
And then I find,
is it something a place you felt drawn to?
It's something I always remember.
Right.
Something once happened in Nottingham, and I always remember it. Well, it was before my time, but once I heard the story, it resonated, and I don't know why.
Right.
And then to find this place is actually near it, it's like, oh, okay. So why? It is. Yeah. Like, I looked on the map, and the map doesn't seem like it was that close, but when you're there, it's okay. So it's quite good. I like this comment then. This is from Mandy Bell. Just wonder if some activity is created by our own subconscious.
That's a very good point. I would say yes to that. The reason why I say yes is because I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a tulpa.
No, I haven't.
No. A tulpa, it's Japanese, Chinese. A tulpa, if you like, I'll put it in simple terms. Is like an imaginary friend.
Right.
But it's an imaginary friend that's created by your own subconscious. Wow. And there are people out there, they're called tulpa. Terrible. You think I've come prepared for this, wouldn't you?
Oh no! Well, we've just gone down that route, haven't we? Go down any route.
Tulpas are one of my favourite subjects. I'm going to be doing another podcast on that.
Brilliant!
In the distant future. But what they are they're like imaginary friends, if you like, but they are created through our own subconscious. And some of these tulpas have actually developed they're sentient. They develop their own personality, and some people have been silly enough to create a tulpa, and now they can't get rid of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like it follows them, and they've created their own imaginary friend, and this own imaginary friend tells them what's happening next door, and tells them, and also mucks around with all their things in their rooms and their houses and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, that is built up from the subconscious mind. I also feel that it's a very good comment, because when I read about Guy Playfair's book about the Enfield poltergeist,
Yeah.
they talk about the subconscious mind in that from what's her name? June.
Shocking with names.
So anyway, the young girls that were, well, the young girl who was the the agent for the poltergeist in there, they talk about the fact that she was going through a lot of stress. It was a terrible atmosphere in the house.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And because she hit puberty, her subconscious mind woke up, if you like.
Yeah.
And now I always think of poltergeist. This is just my opinion. I might be wrong, but I always think of a poltergeist as a spirit with the ability to move stuff around.
Right. Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I know some people might differ from that, but I felt that yes, there was Fred, the spirit that was in the house, but through the girl's subconscious, because of what she was going through, I felt he could perform poltergeist activity because of her subconscious, if you like. Because as she got older and got used to it, it died off.
Yeah.
So yes, I think that's a very good question, and I would say yes, some of it is from our own subconscious.
Yeah, because I wonder if there is poltergeist activity. Because I've been in a situation where I was in a pub and I was stressed, and a few times I was really stressed, so much so I had steam coming out of my ears, and things happened around me. Yeah. Like one particular time, I was at the bar. I got the cellar door behind me, the steps then down to where the beer was. So I got one of the regulars at the bar and said, I can't believe what is expletive done now. All of a sudden there's an explosion down the cellar. I was scared to death. Okay. I thought, well, it's my pub. I'm landlady. I've got to go down them stairs. So obviously there's loads of gas bottles everywhere. You know, I'm on me. You've got to do it. So I went over, went down the steps, and the crash mat had fallen down. So this crash mat, right, it was there for when the beer was delivered on a Monday.
Yeah.
It's put down so the drayman can sort of drop the beer onto it, and there you go. So yeah, so on a Monday it's put against the wall. That's it. So even trying to work out why it's done it on this Sunday, okay?
Yeah.
So there's music on Friday and Saturday, vibration. That's not done it. On Sunday it was a quiet day. It was just me losing it. That's all I can say. And you know, and that happened. And it's not as if, you know.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, I'm only just thinking this now. This is top of my head thoughts. But you imagine the amount of times when you've been in a temper or something's really got to you, pissed you off. Yeah. And you go, you storm out of a room, and you go back into that room, and you find that there's a book thrown on the floor. And you say to yourself, "Oh, I probably did that when I was in a temper." Yeah,
it fell over. Yeah.
I mean, this is just top of the head stuff, top of my head stuff.
That's it. I had glasses smashed and everything. Yeah,
there could be something in that, you know, because I mean, the last thing I would throw on the floor is a book. But
yeah, that's right. But it, you know, you know, you've got the spirits, you've got the energy, everything like that. But you are that charged, and you are giving up so much energy. And they're on about telekinetics, aren't they?
Yes, I was just thinking that telekinetic energy.
So, and there's so much power in how you're feeling, your emotion. And
there is so much about our subconscious mind that we don't understand. It has been proved by science. The subconscious mind is aware of everything that happens. I believe it's up to 6 seconds before it happens.
Yeah.
So what's happening? So our conversation now on our subconscious minds and everybody else's is happened six seconds ago.
Oh wow,
that's mind blowing, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. But then, before I open my mouth, I've generally worked out what I'm going to say, what the impact's going to be.
Yeah.
if you have an argument, if I come out with something, I'm prepared. I know I've already evaluated whether I could go out with it and how much I really care about what I'm going to say. And you already work out the repercussions. So, everything's so quick, isn't it? Just like some, obviously, they open the mouth without thinking.
Yes.
But if anything does come out of my mouth, it is thought about. Especially at the moment. Yeah, I seem to be in a bit of a dodgy situation during the day at the moment. So if I do say something, I am 100% aware.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah, just carry on with that one and see how it goes. Yeah, it pays to be open-minded and skeptical. Otherwise, you never know what might happen. Carl Mandibel went to Morecambe Winter Gardens 2019. TV program for that. And all the program be given story, one half is good, the other evil. The person running this event have come here because the good and the bad side. Many felt they'd been robbed, and that's certain it. You can't always believe what you see on the TV, and and also you don't know what's coming through, do you?
I'll be honest, I don't actually watch any of those programs. I do watch our support. I do watch some of the stuff that some of the people send to me on YouTube. Like I've watched some of your stuff.
Cheers.
To me, it's all part of it, and it's the only way. It's the best way to learn is by watching people you trust, isn't it, and people you know.
Trust, that's
the way I look at it. And but I don't tend to watch the mainstream media. The mainstream media is only allowed to show you certain things. At least if you're watching, it
promotes what it wants, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't want to go down conspiracy.
No, we're not. We're not.
But that's basically it. So I do watch the ones just to support, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to achieve the same thing. And if somebody else has found it that's in our group, if you like, or in our level, then that's great. I probably have more respect for that than if I saw it on like the BBC or something like that. Am I allowed to say BBC?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
So
for those in the US, it's a UK BBC. It's the main UK channel.
Okay.
Well, it's one of the first UK channels, wasn't it? Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Oh.
Yeah. I've not trusted since Ghostwatch, and
Ghostwatch.
That was so incredible. It was.
I love Ghostwatch.
I thought it was real. I didn't realise.
Well, it's funny actually. I did a podcast on it probably about 3 or 4 months ago.
It's in my book as well. I give it a mention.
Yeah. Oh, have you got a book? Oh my god, I didn't know.
It's not out yet. It's not out yet.
Right. Okay. Well, let me know when it is. I'll give that a read. Certainly. I'll
bless you.
Amazon thing, is it?
I'm not sure yet.
All right. Let us know when it's out. I'll buy it.
I think.
Okay. But Ghostwatch, I actually thought Ghostwatch was quite clever. I thought it was quite. It got a lot of flack, and it's never been repeated on UK television since that one night.
Oh, but come on, that was so special. We love those presenters, that they were so trustworthy. Was it Michael Parkinson?
The way I see it is, it was a horror film when it was Halloween.
Yeah, that's right.
I do feel sorry for the one lad, because there was one lad, I believe he had learning difficulties, and I think he committed suicide because there was tapping on the pipes in his house. And of course, in the film, there's Mr. Pipes, isn't there?
That was it, yeah.
And he thought that Mr. Pipes had gone, because the end of the film, it's meant to have. Mr. Pipes is meant to have affected everything and everyone, and we're all going to be possessed and what have you. And this poor lad, he did actually think Mr. Pipes was in the house. I believe I've got it right. He committed suicide. So that's one of the reasons why they won't show it again. I understand that, and I do obviously. I feel really sorry for the parents of that young man. But, it was a horror film. It was in the Radio Times advertised as a horror film as well.
That's right. It was. Documentary. It was pre-recorded. It was obvious. Yeah, when I
And
read up on it, it was, they said what it was
yeah,
basically, but the fact that
yeah.
not everybody had the radio times and they just
No, of
turned it on
course
and
not.
thought, oh,
If you
okay, oh
turned
my
it on
gosh,
halfway through or at the
yeah,
beginning, then yes, I can understand you going, "Oh my God,
yeah, that's
Sarah Green,
right.
she's gone." I had a major crush on Sarah Green in the 80s. Just to
Oh,
throw that in there.
but she was wonderful. She was
Well,
there, wasn't she? I watched her on Blue Peter.
yeah, oh
It
yeah, I
was
remember
Blue
the Blue
Peter, wasn't
Peter
it? And
going
then,
live Saturday mornings or whatever. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's it. And,
Yeah.
everyone knew her. And because
Mm.
in those days, all you did have was how many channels? Was it 2 or 3?
When
There weren't that
I
many
was a
then.
kid, you only had two. It was
Yeah,
BBC One and ITV. I think BBC
yeah.
Two, I think in the '70s, because BBC Two, if I remember right, it was the first coloured channel.
All
First
right,
channel
okay.
colour, I believe.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, and the first advert, I believe, was a Colgate advert, but that was
Oh,
ITV.
wow.
My head is
My
full of bits of
gosh.
trivia like that. This is in
That's
Britain, of course. This
cool.
is in Britain.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Craig Charles came on.
That's right.
Craig
Yeah,
Charles, isn't it?
he was in it. Yes, he was the
Oh my
outside. He
gosh.
was the outside man, going running around outside, interviewing people.
Oh wow.
And I believe
Okay.
Mr. Pipes was in the film. Was it 18 times, something like that?
Oh wow.
He was like hidden behind a curtain or in a reflection and things like that. I think it's 18 times throughout the film he was actually.
Oh my gosh.
But once I watched the film once and I heard that it was he was in there 18 times, the next time I watched it, I was just
Counted.
seeing if you could find Mr. Pipes.
Yeah.
The child.
I do want to watch it. It was,
Yeah, I mean, it was all
because
right.
they were in the country's hearts, weren't they? Because of who these people were. The serious guy, and then these people.
Yeah, that's right. Or Parkinson.
Oh wow.
He was the chat show king at the time.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Sarah Green had to go on children's television the next day, Saturday morning, to
Oh.
show everybody that she hadn't died. Bless her.
Yeah, she just disappeared, didn't she? And that was it. Like, oh god. Yeah, I think I was probably crying because she'd gone missing. It's like, oh.
All good fun.
It was just, but and then obviously we've got all the TV shows after that, and each of them had the place, didn't they?
No, there's simply hundreds of. I mean, the last one I used to watch quite avidly was probably Zach Bagans. I think. I don't know what's happened to him. I mean, I haven't watched him for years now.
I've never seen it. I might have seen it once or twice.
Yeah, I watched the one where he went down to the catacombs in Paris. That was actually very interesting.
Oh, right, okay.
But that was interesting because it was the catacombs in Paris. I wasn't really bothered about the spirit side of things. That was probably the last thing I really watched him in. But there's something like 30,000 hours of footage condensed into 3/4 of an hour. It doesn't really do us investigators.
Well, no, we haven't got a chance, haven't we, to compete against that? But I couldn't. I can't watch it.
I've not watched it for years.
I think I've met somebody who'd been on it, so I just checked out a little bit. Oh yeah, that's where they go.
Well, my youngest sister, I mean, she was on an episode of Most Haunted back in the 90s.
Oh wow!
90s. Yeah, I think I can't remember. I think she got chosen to go somewhere with him in a tower or something like that. I did watch that again out of support. But yeah, I mean, she's into all this weird and wonderful stuff as well.
I wonder why. Oh,
so yeah, but that's about it really. So I do listen to a lot of podcasts. I think there's some very very good podcasters out there.
There are.
There are. The competition for them is pretty high, but there are some good ones out there.
Yeah. It is fascinating, and I do tend to watch a lot of podcasts from my friends because I don't watch TV because
I'm not
really. Really.
I mean, I do my podcasts. I've been doing them probably about 2 years now.
Wow.
And the person who actually got me into them was Neil from the Haunted Antique.
He got me into it as well.
Yeah. Well, he was advertised that we will do shows on his channel or something, and I thought, I'm going to do this. It's something I'd thought about, but I'd never actually had the
I
impetus.
did it as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I just
quite
messaged him
early
and
on
said, yeah, I'd love to have a go. And ever since, I always try and support his stuff if I can. If I see it there, I do it. And then he asked me if I would go on the Ghost Planet Network. I see you're on there as well.
Yeah.
I think you'll find me, but I'm probably way down at the bottom somewhere.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, so you can catch Mark on the Ghost Planet Network, which is www.ghostplanetnetwork.com, I believe. Also, if you've got a Roku stick, then you get Roku, and the Ghost Planet Network is there as a
There's some good stuff on there as well. There
is. Yeah, I do tend to watch that because at least it's genuine, and Neil actually watches everything as well. So he won't have anything on which isn't like genuine. Hi, Jeanette.
Oh yeah. I mean, I watched Barry Franklin. Is that his last? Sorry,
Barry Frankish. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Barry.
I'm actually doing a monthly podcast with Barry now.
Oh, are you?
On Thursday. Yeah. Here you go. Right at the bottom. Paranormal Points of View. So we meant to do it last Thursday. It just went a bit wrong because for some reason his internet died. So by the time we sorted it, it was Thursday. We hadn't really arranged anything. So I need to sort of put a post up, really, just for topics, really, for discussion. We've got a couple which have come up since, and people posting things which, yeah, whatever. Let's have a discussion about that.
I did see the post. I might have liked it, but I don't think I commented on it. I did see the post. Now you said that, but yeah, I mean, if I see it out, I'll watch it. But he did a really good show at East Drive.
Yeah,
and it was really interesting because the lady he was interviewing was that the neighbour. I believe that was the neighbour he was interviewing.
Yeah.
The lady he was interviewing, she actually answered some questions that I'd always wanted to know, and Barry actually asked the right questions. I was quite chuffed about that. And I'd often wondered whether anybody had, because I find it difficult to believe just one house out of that estate is haunted. I've always wondered, surely other people must have seen something, just even on the roads and things like that. And they have, apparently. People have seen hooded figures walking across the roads late at night or even during the day. And so I was really chuffed with that. And also what was interesting on his is the camera kept pointing, automatically moving over to the chair that was empty. And it's one of those sensor cameras, it points to wherever. And it just kept going to this chair. And I thought that was quite compelling. So he did a really good show. I even messaged him actually and said, "Well done, mate. It was really interesting."
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love Barry's views because he doesn't do mainstream views, so he looks at things from a different perspective, which is better because then at least if it's a discussion, he's looking at it at a different angle, and it's refreshing.
Absolutely.
And that is brilliant.
We'll do another one. So come on, Barry, get your ass in gear, do another one.
Yeah, I'll tell him. We'll be speaking in 8 o'clock on Thursday night. But I used to do a discussion show with him. That was on the Haunted Antique chat thing as well. So I think I did that once a fortnight, and then of course I did the show once a week at one stage.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, too much talking. Losing my voice.
I mean, my podcast, although it tends to stick to the paranormal, I also do things like human disasters.
Yeah.
And I try and find things that are different. As well as the paranormal, like the ufology side and the ghost spirits and all that sort of side. I also try and put in. I did one a couple of weeks ago on the 1819 beer flood of London. So I try and do ones that are different. They are.
I've got one for you. I'll tell you after if I remember.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough. I screwed up actually because. When you asked me to do this, I went yes straight away. I know Jack.
Oh no!
And I realised Mondays is when I do my podcast.
Oh God,
I had to do it all this morning. No. I did it all this morning, and I just posted it all this afternoon, and it's
Oh,
actually
bless you. Sorry about that.
No, it's my
Oh no.
it's my fault. It's my fault.
Yeah, 'cause there's
I
another
put it in the
couple I want
diary.
to interview, and they do a show on Monday, so that's awkward, you know. They
Yeah,
go 7 till 8, so.
it's not a problem. It's actually
Oh,
sort of helped me. It it just put me in gear a little bit instead of getting a little bit lazy and doing it at the last minute, you know.
oh, bless you.
So I managed to get it put out today. I mean, today's one.
Awesome.
This one is all about the Trump family in America.
Right.
2016, for some unknown reason, they all the family got into the family car and just disappeared in Australia, and they were gone for 6 days. And they were all found one at a time in different parts of the country, and
Wow.
2 of them were actually in psychiatric units.
Incredible.
I won't ruin it for you. What
No.
happened?
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating story, and I think it really plays on what they call the folie Dieu, but this is called folie de famille, which is French for family madness.
Wow.
And it's all about basically one person going into paranoia and it affecting the rest of his family, and they all just completely cracked up and they ended up in different parts of Australia. It's a fascinating story, but I'll let you, if you
Yeah, definitely. So, what's it called then for everybody listening?
Wait, my podcast is called Mark's Unexplained World. It is available on GPN, but I know Neil gets very busy, so he doesn't always get the chance to upload.
Yes, he's had computer issue recently.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, and I know he's doing the what's names, the
Paranormal,
and
yeah.
I know he's busy, so I try not to hassle him. But it's also available on YouTube. Mark's Unexplained World. It's on there. It's also it's available on Podbean, Spreaker, Amazon Prime, Spotify, all the top.
Right. Okay.
It is there. You'll see my beautiful face smiling at you as you click on.
Oh, bless you. I've put it. We're just typing it as we say, really. So then
that's all right. That's okay.
Anyone could. Yeah. Somebody will find it now. So there you go.
And I've done some very unusual subjects. Although there is the paranormal side in there, there's also some subjects that nobody else has really looked at, which I always think is a.
That is, it's more intriguing that way, isn't it?
I think so. I mean, I put the odd famous one in, like I did Rendlesham Forest and Agent Orange and things like that, just to keep me on track, so I don't go off on complete tangents. But no, I try to find one.
But Rendlesham is fascinating, isn't it?
Rendlesham Forest
and recent. Well, relatively recent.
1980, I believe it was. Yes, I mean that is recent. I mean they call it Britain's Roswell.
Yeah.
And it happened over 3 nights. 3 nights.
Yeah.
UFO activity over 3 nights. It's just amazing, and the recordings are still out there. And of course, the soldiers who were involved at the time have got this unknown cancer. They've still got it from the object that they touched themselves.
That's intriguing.
One of them touched. It is just amazing.
Yeah, because unlike the conversations you have, where people have met greys, you sort of help heal, though, don't you?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But if they've actually got ill through touching this.
Yeah.
It's kind of
that's right. There are various people who've had various cancers. There's I can't remember the name. There was 2 women and a little boy. This is in America. I can't remember what they call the case now, but they were driving down a country lane, if you like, and right in front of them was this great big shiny silver disc, glowing light. Wow. And they stopped the car, obviously. Got out. The 2 women got out the car, got to the front of the car, told the little boy to stay in the car because he had the ump.
Yeah.
Fair, not fair. And they both approached this glowing thing, and it got so hot, I think they eventually got back into the car. And as they were steering or trying to reverse the car to get away, I think it was 3 or 4 black helicopters came hurtling towards the silver disc thing and took it away. Now, black helicopters in ufology, they're known as what they call black ops. It's usually FBI or CIA stuff.
Yeah.
They're the ones who concentrate on stuff that they won't admit to.
That's right. Yeah.
And anyway, over time, these poor women, I think one of them, I may have this wrong, I think one of them's actually dead now, and they died through this cancer. But they spent so much time, most of their time, trying to get compensation off the government, because if this thing was an Earth or a United States or American contraption, it shouldn't have been there giving off this radiation. And of course, the American government was saying nothing to do with us. Yeah, but at the same time,
they couldn't say anything else. Yeah,
and it just got so political. The poor women. The boy was all right because he stayed in the car.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The two women. I believe one of them. I may be wrong. I believe one of them's dead through this skin cancer, and the other one, she has to have constant lotions and goodness knows what else. I can't remember the name of the case.
But so many ufology fascinating stories, aren't there? You know?
Yeah. I mean, I could sit and talk about them all night. What amazes me, I think one of the other ones, this is like what they call it, hidden in plain sight, is the Phoenix Lights from 1996.
Yeah.
I think 96, 92 or 96, could be 96. Anyway, when over Phoenix, Arizona, there was this giant, I'm talking like football stadium, craft hanging over the city, and you've got the row of lights like going in a circle going around. If you type in Google Phoenix Lights, you'll see the pictures of this giant disc, because it was dark, you can't see it properly. But had that been daylight, my life, I would say that's a disc. And some of the photographs, but it wasn't just the fact that 11,000 people saw this thing in the sky, but people along a certain road, if you like, were seeing crafts, UFOs, traveling towards Phoenix at the same time that this big craft was seen in the air.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, 11,000 people saw it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Nobody's done it. And you sit and think, hold on, look, somebody's got to say. And I personally feel, in some respects, I think disclosure is slowly happening. Some people say it's already happened, but then why is the mainstream media not touching it? Again, I won't go too much on the conspiracy side.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, I don't think some people are prepared for it. And it might cause a bit of a panic. Some people.
I agree.
They're not all open-minded, are they?
Yeah, and of course you've got a lot of religions and things like that that say that we're the only planet in existence with life.
That's right. Yeah.
Who knows what will happen? I always find it. I find it amusing actually, because a lot of these science fiction stories, television dramas, they tend to suddenly finish after about 2 seasons, and I always find that quite compelling. If you think there was one, I believe, called
I loved it. I so loved that program.
That's right. I think I watched it because I think I fell in love with the lead character in the latest.
I like Mark. Was it Mark Singer? Oh my God! Yeah.
I can't remember.
And Robert Englund.
That's right.
Oh my God! Yeah.
There was a series done in the 80s which got cancelled, and there was a series done 15 years ago. It was a remake of the original.
Oh no, it's the original one I used to love.
Original, yeah. Well, it was redone again. I can't remember, 15 years ago, perhaps. And of course, the idea is, of course, underneath the human skin is they're lizards.
Yeah.
And if you know people, or if you ever read anything by David Icke, he talks a lot about the royal families, and the world leaders, the Illuminati being lizards. Yeah, underneath the skin, or I could go from tangents here, but they talk about spectrums of light. There are certain things you can't see within a certain spectrum of light, and these, like he claims, like the royal family, if you like, if you looked at them in a different spectrum of light, you would see they're actually lizards, not people.
It's also fascinating.
It is. I mean, his books. they're mind blowing. They really are. And I just find it interesting that they do 2 seasons of this, what seems to be a very popular science fiction, and all of a sudden it gets cancelled. And I tend to think, why have you cancelled that?
Why is it gone? Yeah.
But
I did love the original series of Faith.
Yes, I remember watching it. Yeah, in the 80s. But I watched the new ones again, and I think I've got one DVD actually. Anything like that, I tend to buy.
Yeah.
Because I always think there's a touch of truth to some of these.
It's like a lot of the horror films and things like that have, as you sort of go down this route, you think, you're hitting on something that is one of our theories. What we do.
Yeah. This is it. I think the thing with horror films, I mean, the only horror films I don't watch are slasher films. It's not that they're scary. I just think they're ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, of course. But I think the horror films that are interesting, the ones that really seem to get people's nerves, are the domestic ones, if you like the Amityville horror, or the Enfield, or probably the first real domestic horror that I can really think of is probably The Exorcist back in the early 70s.
Yeah, that was intriguing.
I remember when 70s or 80s, might be 80s.
I'm not sure, but I watched it as soon as the ban was over.
Oh yeah.
And they put it back in the cinemas, didn't they? And I went to one of the early screenings of that.
It was an incredible film. I mean, it was. Obviously it was dark, but I think what resonated with that was the fact it was an ordinary little girl in a domestic setup, and I think that's the sort of thing that tends to resonate with people when they're watching horrors. If you're just watching The Bride of Frankenstein or something like that, you're watching for the makeup or special effects. Some people might even get frightened by it, but I think you probably get more frightened as something that you can relate to, like a domestic setup, like Poltergeist when it came out, 81, 82.
Yeah.
I loved that film, but I never actually saw that as a horror. I saw that as a dark comedy. I'm not saying that to be special or anything like that. I just thought it was a very clever film, and there was a lot of humorous moments in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, fair enough. Here's a little fact for you. Poltergeist was actually based on the Enfield incident.
Oh, okay.
What happened was when Guy Playfair. I'd actually met Guy Playfair. When he did his book, Spielberg read it and thought it was fantastic. And he actually approached, I don't know whether he approached Guy Playfair or whether he approached his agent or something like that. Yeah. And he said, I want to make a film with the Enfield Poltergeist. And Guy Playfair said, no. And he said, but I'll pay you to use your book. He said, I've not done it for money. No, you can't do it. So Spielberg had to go back to his drawing board. So he decided to make an American film called Poltergeist. He was originally going to make it about the Enfield Poltergeist, but Guy Playfair wouldn't let him have the rights to it.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
How things are a bit different.
When he told me that, I thought, good for you, Guy. I mean, people coming over here.
Yeah.
I thought, fair play to you.
Yeah. It's great when you are like that and you can just turn things away because
I mean, he was a journalist.
Good.
He was a writer, obviously.
Oh,
he
was
more a journalist than anything else. And he didn't get involved with the Enfield case to make money. He did it because he was asked to keep a journal on it, and that's what he did.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating. Right, we've got a question from UK Paranormal Search then, UKPS.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you ever done Woodchester Mansion? For me, it's a no. I'd love to.
Oh, yes, I have done Woodchester Mansion. Yes, I have. It's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful building. It just seems to be permanently cold, I think.
A lot of places are though.
Yeah.
Realistically,
there's something about. We went there in the dead of winter, and
oh gosh,
it was just freezing cold. But I'm trying to think. When I went, did we have? I've got to be honest. I don't remember anything particular standing out happening. I know I took some guests down into one of the cellars, and the cellars are really good. And we did have some really good results with some table tipping. I do remember that, but I don't remember anything spectacular, if you like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like out the wall or anything like that. But yes, I have done it. It's a good. Fair enough. It's a great place to investigate. Now, this is just me speaking, but I don't like doing events there because if you're going to do an event there, you've got to go through mud to get to the water tap, and if you want to go to the toilet, you're going to cross the muddy car park that's right over the other side. Wow. It's freezing cold. So, but to do an investigation there, yes, I can see the appeal. And you know, I mean, me and Linda have talked about doing Woodchester, but we said we'd probably go for the summer when it's a bit drier.
Well, yeah,
you really
go now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful building. It's funny when you drive towards it, you see it in the distance, you know, the building, and you got the mist going round it. It's like a typical, that's what view out of Scooby-Doo, if you like. You know, it's got all the mist floating around it, and as you approach the building itself. Yeah, it's a wonderful building to investigate. But I do remember having some good stuff there, but nothing out of the ordinary. Do you know what I mean? Nothing I can.
Well, yeah, that's it. Because you know, when you do investigate a lot, it's very rare that you do get something out of the ordinary. I had a weird experience on Friday night.
Right.
No, Saturday night. Because I spent Friday and Saturday night at Haunted Antiques. But on Saturday night, so we're hosting, and we're split into two groups.
Right.
And then I don't know, we were doing a séance, and this lady's mum came through. Wow, and we got talking more and more, and then I just sort of felt that I recognised this lady, but I didn't know her. But there's just something really familiar about her. Anyway, we got speaking. It turned out that we're in the same class at school. So why did we travel? Like, she still lives where I live, practically. So why did we travel 30 miles, both of us? Okay. Why did we even get onto the topic? It seemed like her mum has brought us together. She also worked for an events company, Haunted Happenings, as well at one stage. So that's two from the class who do this weird stuff, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
Awesome. And, you know, it's just really weird how, you know, we're just kind of, and yet, you know, she might not have gone that night, or she might have been in the different group, but how we might not have had a chance to go in the seance room.
Yeah.
It's just a really weird coincidence. And
I
don't know how I felt she was familiar, because I don't reckon, you know, like, we were 10 at the time, you know? We're talking primary school. I left there when I was 10.
Yeah.
And it's just weird, isn't it? But yeah, you know, our paths have crossed for a reason, haven't they? You know, and it's just so random. And why, after all these years? So the mystery continues on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I found over the years, some people attract certain spirits because they've been through the same thing themselves.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I won't say their names or anything like that, but I recently went on an investigation, a place called the Robin Hood Museum.
Yeah, I like it there.
It's wonderful there, isn't it? I really
it's linked to two of past lives.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it's quite fascinating to me.
Oh yeah, it's just the room. It's different.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know whether he does it purposely, but each door is shut, so it keeps that same energy.
It does.
In that room. That makes sense. So I attracted you. I do apologize.
And it goes to Sherwood Forest as well. So a lot of the twigs and stuff are actually from Sherwood Forest.
Oh.
So it's intriguing, you know. So it might take something with it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so it is. Yeah.
But I do. Yeah, I do remember. So I won't say their names, but there was one guy. He got possessed, and this was dark. This really was dark. Have you been into the tiny little cellar at the bottom?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, down there. I mean, I don't know how 6 of us got in there. I think 3 of us were
I don't. No.
And the others were on the stairs. And we had this young lad. He was he was getting some really good K2 hits. These were phenomenal. He'd have it in his hand, and it was just going flashing on command. Yes, no's, yes, no's, and he suddenly started to drift. And we looked at him and hey, is he all right? And he just fell forward. And we tried to bring him out. And we did eventually, but it took time. And the reason why I bring it up is because we found out that he'd been going through some dark stuff himself, you know, and the spirit that he picked up on was a pretty nasty spirit who had also been through some dark stuff. I'm not saying they're both the same.
It's not the judge. It's not the one from the judge's room, is it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, because I'm linked to him on a past life.
Have you? Oh, okay.
And, yeah, it's
Might have been. I can't remember.
It's mad.
It was, funny enough. I mean, it was serious stuff. I mean, we were trying to.
Oh gosh, yeah, he is.
But as a ghost hunter or paranormal investigator, I kept saying, "This is awesome."
I know it is. Yeah.
But I remember years ago doing an event, and there was a young girl. Now, I was a bit suspicious of her age when I think about it now, because you have to be 18 or over to go.
Yeah.
But her mum was very protective of her. But it wasn't my event, so let them sort it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were in I can't remember the building. There was an old school somewhere, and we were down in one of the cellars full of old bits of furniture all folded up, chairs and tables. And all of a sudden, this girl went, "Ouch!" And we all looked at her and said, "You all right?" And she said, "I've just been scratched." And she took her glasses off, and you could see this scratch forming down her cheek.
Wow.
And all the paranormal investigators were sat there with their cameras and torches filming it. And of course, the poor girl's petrified.
What else would you do? Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And it happened at the Robin Hood because I was hosting there with the guy called Daniel, Hopkins, who's a great medium. And he got scratched. So he like took his shirt off and you could see it just come out. And, you know, he hadn't been scratching. He actually brought that guy through on trance as well. The judge.
Really?
He brought him through on trance. And then years later, well, last year, I actually asked the same spirit in the National Justice Museum the same questions and got the same answers. And I also got the link confirmed between the two places as well. So, but yeah, this is a link to my past life, which, it's absolutely fascinating.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've not been to the Justice for a few years now. I think 1 year I went about 3 times.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is just it's a mixture, isn't it? You've got the cells, and you've got the courts, you've got the offices, but you've also got the caves right down the other end.
Yes, it got gruesome last time.
You sit in those caves and you think, I'm actually in the galleries of justice, and it just doesn't feel like it. You know, I feel like
I know. I've been to a court case there as well, because when I was in a real one. No, I was at sixth form. I was doing government and politics, just not because I'm into it, but because it was an option randomly. And for one day, they had a link there, so we actually went and watched the start of the case. So I watched half a day's case there. So to actually watch a case, then years later go and see, you know, it's just fascinating. You know, it's a haunted building, right? You wouldn't even have thought it, you know, because it's quite a scary environment where you've got a real court case going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done field service in the past.
Oh, I'd love to.
It is fascinating. I mean, I've not done it for a few years now, but I think I'm one of those rare people that have done it 3 times. I'm one of those rare. Most people get asked twice.
Oh, I've done it. I did it 3 times last year. About 3 times in a month.
In a month? Grief.
Is it? Oh, God.
I mean, are you somewhere every weekend? Because I see a lot of your pictures.
At the moment, yeah. I've also got some residentials as well. I've also got a project as well. So I was at Haunted Antiques on Friday and Saturday. I've got 3 times at Tutbury in February somehow.
Yeah.
It's just how it's worked out.
Yeah, no.
And And
Yeah,
I'm trying to
nice.
sort out my own investigations as well around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gone a bit mad really. But I've got I had 4 residentials just appear within the space of a week. So we've sorted one out. We're just trying to get the time to get to the others. So just trying to sort that out for Saturday.
Oh yeah, residentials are good. They're good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a couple over the years. Well, I've done a few over the years where I get asked to go along and just see what I can pick up and help.
But it's you have to sort it, and you know.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a lot of things. Oh yeah, it goes to. No, it's not. You know, you're there, and you've got to help people.
You're doing a job.
I work. I help out with Rachel Farrow.
Oh, I know that.
Who I spoke to last week. So we're actually partners, and we do the residentials, and yeah, it worked well. You know, we did the first one together.
It's amazing how
it went really well.
I think as a race, we seem to be a lot more open about this sort of thing now than we used to.
Definitely, yeah.
I think the internet has probably helped, to be honest with you, in that respect, because all these people are suddenly don't feel like they're loonies anymore. Feel like they can actually talk about this sort of thing.
That's it.
Yeah. Whereas once upon a time, you talked about it, and everybody else thought you were insane.
Yeah. Well, somebody actually put it on the local spotted site, so the community page on Facebook. So you could just imagine everyone's responses.
Yeah,
you know, and I replied going, because they wanted a medium, so I gave the name of this medium.
Right.
But they actually wanted somebody to check out the house, so he passed it back to me. So yeah.
Oh, excellent.
But,
excellent.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
But,
No, it's good. Sometimes you know it is just as easy as a cleansing. You know, going around with this.
Yeah,
Yeah, and sometimes it's a little bit harder. You know, and sometimes.
Yeah, she's aware of who lives there, and
it
was fine, but something changed. Which
I did do one probably quite a few years ago now. This guy had renovated some flats, and he was having a lot of problems. People kept leaving because things kept moving around their apartments, and he had a big turnover of people coming, meant to be there for months, and they'd leave after about 2 weeks. And me and Linda, actually, we went to this place, and what we did was we worked out that if you've given this spirit a room of his own, he'll probably leave you alone.
Wow.
So what we did was he had an attic. So he decided, and he was really all for this as well, because he was fed up with losing money because clients kept leaving.
Yeah.
And I got in contact with the spirit. I sat in there, I meditated, told spirit, this is your room. Wow. This room will not be disturbed. And after that, he never had a problem. That's all the spirit wanted, was somewhere to live, somewhere to stay.
Fascinating.
So every now and then they hear people, or they hear footsteps, or they hear knocking, or something falling over in this little room. But he said, I don't dare go and find out what it is.
That's fascinating. You know, that they want to live how they used to live, or whatever. And if you could, I used to share a pub with the spirit. You know, I didn't believe in it, mind you, but things happened enough. You know, but we've got to finish now. But what a fascinating chat! I know, it's terrible. There's another show coming on. There's another show coming on Things Network now. So
no, that's fine. Jacqueline, I am so grateful that you gave me this opportunity.
No, it's been fascinating. We'll have to speak again, to be fair.
Absolutely.
It's just been fascinating. We've covered so much, haven't we?
We have, yeah. I just hope we haven't bored everyone, that's all.
Oh, no, never do that. No, it was fascinating.
I've really enjoyed it. It's great to talk to like-minded people and have like-minded people listen to us as well. It's fascinating. And thank you for the questions.
Oh, bless you. Yeah. Thank you. But thanks everyone who's been watching, and look after yourselves. Thanks for all the comments and everything. And so on Thursday it's my first show with Barry. It's Paranormal Points of View, so I'm going to put a post on here, and also on BRF Paranormal we'll put a post up where people can make the comments, any discussion topics. We've got a couple of nice ones, so see how that goes. Maybe it's monthly, maybe more often. Mark, what are you doing? You're doing podcasts. That's been launched today.
Yes, I did a podcast this afternoon. It's on. It's available over the Facebook, my own Mark's Unexplained World Facebook group. It's on there. The link's on there, and it's on YouTube as well. And this one is about the Trump family. It's a fascinating story. So
Right,
hopefully you
okay.
enjoy it.
So thank you so much. It's been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
But
brilliant.
take care and take care, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. See you. Bye.